Hello, students of class 10th. We are already into the chapter Lifelines of Economy, and today we will do some more means of transportation and their importance, the role that they are playing in moving our economy much more faster forward. So, one of them is the railways. After the roadways, we all know that railways is the most important means of transport to move the passengers as well as the goods. Goods are the freights, and it's well known to us, and it is a very common sight to see that a huge, a long goods train is moving on the railway tracks. Whenever we travel by train, we always find this goods train moving side by side. The goods train is generally having much more number of wagons than the passenger train, and they carry huge quantities, huge volume of goods across the length and breadth of the country. Apart from the movement of the passengers, the railways is very clear that it promotes business because the goods are moving across the country and these goods are meant for business. It is used for the purpose of pilgrimage, it is used for sightseeing, and there are some special trains which has been introduced by our government to promote these activities. Like for sightseeing, we have this palace on wheels which moves in Rajasthan, and this palace in wheels on wheels is just like a mini hotel, and all the luxuries of five-star hotel is provided within the walls of the train. Similarly, we have another one known as Deccan Queen, which travels across our plateau region. Pilgrimage trains are also introduced. So, like for example, there is one train which connects all the places of importance for the Buddhist pilgrims, and it connects Bodh Gaya with Sarnath, Varanasi, and several other places which are noted as centers for Buddhist pilgrimage. So many such trains are there which are run for special purpose, like there is a train which carries science exhibition and it moves from one station to another station, and the school children can visit this train when they arrive at their particular city, and they can have a glimpse of the different science exhibitions that are exhibited. So railways are like a great integrating force because people move in the train, they share the berths irrespective of their caste, creed, language, religion, color. So it is like a mini Indian family which moves from one place, from one part of the country to the another. So the railways binds also the economic life of the country, and it has greatly accelerated the development of our industry as well as agricultural sector. The industrial commodities, the raw materials, the finished products, as well as the agricultural grains move across the country. The finished products of agro-based industries also move across the country. So, Indian Railways is the largest public sector organization, and the first train was the one that moved between Mumbai to Thane in 1853. In fact, the first train was scheduled to move in Kolkata, but the railway coach did not arrive on time, and so it was rescheduled, and the place was selected as Mumbai. Now, in our country, India, we find that the railway tracks are of different types, and it is known as gauge. We have broad gauge tracks, we have meter gauge tracks, we have narrow gauge tracks. Now, this gauge is the distance between the two sides of a railway track. The broad gauge trains have a distance of 1.676 meters between them. The meter gauge track has a distance of 1 meter between them, and the narrow gauge tracks are much narrower. Now we find the broad gauge tracks are laid down in the flat plain areas where there is much space. Meter gauge tracks are laid down in the plateau areas. The narrow gauge tracks are quite narrow, and the train coaches are also much smaller in size, and they move in the mountainous area. But now there is a lot of efforts from the government to change the railway tracks and to have a single type of track known as unigauge system, because this will reduce the cost involved in loading and unloading when the trains are moving from plateau area to plain area, or vice versa, or to the mountainous areas as well, though we have very limited areas where this railway track is there in the mountainous belt. We have the entire country organized into railway zones. There is a railway headquarter for each of these zones. Now, the distribution pattern of the railway network of our country varies greatly, because it is influenced by a combination of factors. It is influenced by physiographic, economic, and administrative factor, of which physiographic factor is the most important one, because India is occupied by different types of relief features. The relief features greatly inhibit the distribution of railways, especially if there is a high mountain or there is a river on the way. So, the northern plains have a vast plain area. The population is also too much living in this area. So, a high population density, a rich agricultural hinterland promotes the movement. There is maximum movement of the people as well as goods in this area. So, the conditions are favorable. The movement of passengers is also more. That means that income from this part is also more. That is, the railways get a better revenue from the northern plain, because more people are moving, more goods are moving in this area, and the land is flat, and so it is very easy to lay down the railway track. But some rivers are there, no doubt, and their bridges are constructed so that the beds of the rivers can be used, the beds of the rivers can be crossed with the help of the bridges. In the hilly areas, especially in the mountainous belt, there is minimum railway tracks, and in the peninsular region also we find that there is some amount of hindrances, but tunnels has been constructed wherever there is gaps, and the railway tracks has been taken in between these tunnels so that the people can move in these railways. Railways is very less in the desert areas also, because the sand does not provide a firm support to the railway tracks. Railways are also very less in the salt marshes, like the Rann of Kutch has very few limited tracks. Similarly, the Sundarban area does not have railway track in the marshy deltaic portion. Similarly, there are areas which are covered by dense forest. There, for security reasons, also the railway lines are lesser in length or in number. So, railways are best developed in the northern plain where we have these flat plain areas. However, in some places in recent years, there has been an increase in the railway tracks, that is along the western coastal plain, just at the foothills of the western Ghats. However, this area, this zone face lot of problem because during the rainy season there is heavy rainfall and landslides are common, and huge chunks of boulders, they just move down and settle on the railway tracks. Sometimes they fall on the moving train also and cause lot of damage. Today the railways are very important means of transportation for the passengers as well as for the goods, but this railway transportation suffers from lot of problem because a huge number of passengers, they travel without tickets. Secondly, damaging of railway property is common. Sometimes we find that whenever the people have any kind of anger against the government, they will simply burn the railways, or they will try to rob the railway properties. They will carry out thieving of the railway properties, or they will throw huge pieces of stones or boulders and damage the window shield of the AC coaches. So thefts and damaging of railway properties are continue in spite of lot of attempt by the government to educate the people. Sometimes the people, they stop the train unnecessarily by pulling the chain and this cause heavy damage to the railways because lot of revenue is lost. Sometimes there can be accidents as a result of pulling the chain because another train is there at the back after some distance following the same route. Sometimes patients, students appearing for examination, they are also greatly damaged by such activities of the people. So railways are the second most means of transportation, the second most importantly used means of transportation for the people of our country. Now next comes the pipeline. The pipelines are a new entrant in the means of transportation. It's a new arrival, and pipeline was mainly meant for the movement of water. But nowadays pipelines are used to carry oil, gas and minerals in slurry form. If you remember children, though your mineral chapter was not done theoretically, but I had said while doing the map work that we have a huge iron ore deposits in Karnataka. The place is Kudremukh, and the iron ore of this Kudremukh deposit is transported by pipeline in slurry form to the new Mangalore port. Oil and gas moves through the pipeline because gas cannot be carried in any form, so it has to move with the help of pipeline. And oil also, after the oil is dug out in crude form, it is transported with the help of pipeline to the refineries, to the petrochemical refineries. So nowadays we also find the fertilizer factories, they are also taking this fuel from the with the help of these pipelines. Then thermal power plants are also taking oil and gas with the help of pipelines. Many modern cities are having the supplies of gas with the help of pipelines. So pipelines are very, very important, especially for the refineries which are located quite distant from the oil and gas depots. So we have mainly many refineries like Barauni in Bihar, Mathura in Uttar Pradesh, Panipat, and many fertilizer plant which utilizes gas. Now initially the cost of laying down of this pipeline is high, but in the long run they proves to be cheaper, and lot of shipment delays has been uh, totally averted now. We are not having any kind of delay in shipping or shifting this gas and oil. So there are three major important network of pipeline in the country. So children, let us study the pipelines, the three major important network of pipelines in our country with the help of a map. The first pipeline, it runs from Upper Assam. We all know that here we are having oil fields like Dibrugarh is there, which is the oldest oil fields. Digboy is there. Digboy is the first one. Then Dibrugarh is there. Naharkatia, Hugri, Jan, Muran. These are the places of oil fields. Now from Upper Assam, there is a oil pipeline that runs from here and it continues till Kanpur, and on the way it joins Guwahati in Assam, it joins Barauni in Bihar, then it connects Allahabad, and then it connects Kanpur. And there is one pipeline from Barauni to Rajbagh in West Bengal. Rajbagh is very much located very close to Durgapur, and then Morigram in Howrah district, and then Haldia. And from Guwahati there is a pipeline that runs to Shiliguri. So again I am repeating, the first pipeline connects from Upper Assam to Guwahati, to Barauni, to Allahabad and Kanpur. From Barauni, one pipeline has come to Rajbagh, and Rajbagh is close to Durgapur. Maurigram is in Howrah district, and then Haldia. And from Guwahati, one pipeline has gone to Siliguri. So from this part, our entire eastern India and a part of northern India is getting the supply of oil. The second pipeline spans from Salia in Gujarat. Here is Salia, and it runs to Jalandhar in Punjab. And on the way it connects Delhi. There is a line connecting Mathura. In Mathura we have the largest oil refinery, and then Sonepat is there in Haryana. Again I am repeating, from Salia to Jalandhar, and on the way it connects Mathura, Delhi, Sonepat. Mathura in UP, Delhi is there, and then Sonepat in Haryana. This Jalandhar is in Punjab and Salia is in Gujarat. This is the second network of pipeline, and the third one is known as the H. Vijay pipeline, which also runs from Hazira in Gujarat, connecting Vijaypur and then Jagdishpur in Uttar Pradesh. This pipeline also connects Delhi here. So these are the three major pipelines. These are the major oil fields of our country. This portion in Gujarat, and here in the northeast we are having Assam. So these two areas supplies the major amount of oil to the entire northern India and to the eastern India. So this part of India which lacks in oil supply gets oil from these major pipelines. Okay, one from Assam till Uttar Pradesh, and here from Gujarat to Punjab, and again from Gujarat to Delhi and this part of northern India. So our pipelines have greatly helped in connecting our country with oil, supplying oil to our different parts of the country. So children, in my next video, we'll continue with the waterways and the major seaports. Hope you have understood the location of the pipelines and how they are providing very valuable service to the industries and to the urban centers of northern India. Even though located far away from any oil depot, they are getting the supply with the help of pipelines. So pipelines play an equally important role in making our economy move faster. So thank you children. Next day we will do the waterways, major seaports and the airways. Thank you children. Have a nice day.